many years ago, far too many years ago, when I was a young lad, the sight of one of these caterpillars in the garden wouldn't have been too unusual. Might have been indicative that my mother hadn't been so thorough weeding as she thought she'd been. This is the garden tiger caterpillar, forever known to people of my age as woolly bears. Because I say people of my age because when we were kids all those years ago in the 50s, 60s and early 70s, this was a common sight. Every boy knew the woolly bear. Every boy had probably caught one and gone running home with this in his hands and shouted on arrival to his mother, "Have you got a jam jar?" And mother would probably have had to chucked out and cleaned out what was in the contents of a jam jar. And that little boy would have put a few dandelion leaves in, or top leaves like this, and he would have reared that caterpillar. It would have pupated after having spun a cocoon, and a few weeks later he would have been left with the beautiful garden tiger moth fluttering around in his jar, which he would have then let go. That's what many young boys did in that day and age. They can't do it now, and they haven't been able to do it for many years, because in Nottinghamshire at least, and probably the same in many other Midland counties, you can't find these for love nor money. Because a number of decades ago these suddenly declined. My last sighting of a wild one in Nottinghamshire was in the late 1990s, one trundling across the road, as they were often prone to do. You often used to see these as they ran across the pavement or the road. That was probably how most people came into contact with this fabulous caterpillar, and it is fabulous. I know I say that about a lot of things, but this is fabulous. Fabulously hairy and fabulously coloured too. It's an absolute beauty, and it's a pity that we can't find it anymore. Maybe in a number of years' time, things that caused the decline in the garden tiger, certainly in Nottinghamshire, but probably in those other counties I've mentioned, might change, and this can become a common moth again. It virtually became extinct in Nottinghamshire, just about maintained an annual foothold from sites in sort of the north and northeast of the county. It showed signs of making something of a comeback, but that comeback hasn't materialised. But hopefully one day it will, and many of us will be able to see this caterpillar once again. And it is a beautiful thing. If you look sort of dorsally, you can see that most of the dorsal surface of the caterpillar is covered in beautiful black hairs, and those longer hairs on the end are white. The first few segments at the back of the head are a beautiful rufous colour. The whole caterpillar is an absolute beauty. Just look at that.